All right, we've got some news here. We've got the 1.1 update and kind of a roadmap for some future updates. So let's go through all the information we have here. Of course, this is the Kentrosaurus update, which looks like it's going to be the Frontier one coming back, at least as like the base Kentrosaurus, because they aren't advertising the Camp Cretaceous skin here, which is interesting. There might be some implication in that. Maybe the Camp Cretaceous variants aren't coming back right away, or maybe they'll come back, alongside Chaos Theory and like the missing Muppy skin and like a Camp Cretaceous Chaos Theory DLC. Or maybe they just haven't shown him yet. Maybe we're reading too much into this by worrying about it already. Um, so yeah, we got the Kentrosaurus family unit coming at 1.1. That's the content for the patch, really. Ultimately, the rest of it is kind of some fixes and updates. You can already see the juvenile here. Looks about what you would have expected. Probably, rigged on like the same skeleton as the other baby stegosaurids. Um, so yeah, a little bit of overview here on just a little blurb on Kentrosaurus. You know all this stuff. This isn't anything shocking. The important thing here is this last paragraph. We're excited to announce that we'll be introducing one base game species as complete family units from JWE2 every month starting from January 2026. We won't charge you for these species. So, what this means is after Kentro's out, there's 18 remaining animals from JWE2 base game, which means we get one animal a month up through the middle of 2027. So, a year and a half of returning species in these free updates. Which is maybe a little more staggered than we might have hoped. It'll be, a fair while before all those return to us, but I mean, at least they're coming and they're free. So, also some more information here from the update. Just some other changes in the changelog. Dinosaurs should navigate better beneath and around scenery items. Some more hotkeys are coming. Some improvements to the foliage detail settings. Uh, Adding sandbox option for adjusting the operations buildings limits. This is like having multiple control centers and stuff like that. Sandbox settings to prevent juveniles from getting hunted. Path and fence building modes now will default to not having replace mode on, which is great because this is a little annoying when you go to build a new fence or a path and the last thing you've done was replace, and so you're on replace. Like this makes sense. You're more likely to build new than you are to replace old, right? So it should default to building new. This is pretty important. Pylons can be placed between islands on maps made with the island generator. So this means if you've looked at the island generator, this can generate separate like little areas that can't be connected up. So like the map outline, right, might have little isolated bubbles essentially with these outlying islands. And now you can run pylons between those. The question I have, what I haven't like, I'm fairly certain you can't connect those up with like a hyperloop or anything. So does this actually functionally matter if pylons can be run between them? Because if nothing else can, this is kind of like okay, but so what? Um, I guess you could do something with like multiple entrances, but it'd also be kind of weird. Added guest food scattering animation for the dinosaur encounter. Adjusted frequency of dinosaurs present in the dinosaur encounter. This second one here, this is a thing that needed to happen. The dinosaur encounter was hot trash. There was hardly ever an animal in it. And I think even adjusting the frequency so that it's used more is not gonna make it any better. But but it will at least make it more visually appealing, right? The dinosaur encounter is something you add to a park because you just want to use it, not because you're worried about the efficiency of it as an attraction. So having it actually be used more makes it at least feel better. Add a group edit shortcut when playing with mouse. Double click a group to enter group edit mode. Sure, that seems fine. New help screens, whatever. Add a screen effect when time controls are open to clarify focus. Gamepad only. Weird. Um, And a biome filter label for foliage scenery items. This is not an issue I've run into, but I've seen people bring up that it's like really annoying to actually filter the foliage decorative items. So this seems like it'll be a good thing. And then past all these other changes, there'll still be bug fixes and stability improvements. So there'll be a proper full change log with more stuff next week. So it's possible that like with the pylon thing here, maybe this will come alongside the capability to have like hyperloops running between these islands or something, or some way to like actually connect outlying islands together, which would be like a good first improvement to the island generator. And then we've got a bunch of discussion here on the complexity meter. So this is of course the big sticking point for the console players, where the complexity meter, it exists in the game to limit the amount of things you can do so that the game doesn't, explode, sending your console into the stratosphere or possibly orbit. But the complexity meter is proven to be very weird, with different people having kind of different results. And so it's been like a big discussion point. A lot of people are mad about it. And so it's something they're going to focus on fixing in at least early updates, or at least try to. So we have some updates coming here: memory optimization, save game optimization, performance optimizations. So these should make some difference to the complexity meter. But yeah, I mean, I don't play on console, so I've never experienced this myself. But hopefully for the people this is, an issue for, this is at least maybe a good first step towards helping them out. We'll see. I mean, I won't, but people will. I'm sure if it's still dog shit, I will hear about it. It's all over the Reddit. So, and then there's now going to be an override performance limits option, to just kind of sort of ignore the complexity meter. But it sounds like it's not, totally. Excuse me, I'm allergic to the complexity meter. It sounds like it's not totally ignoring it. It's just kind of overriding it, right? So, like, yeah, if building continues with override turned on, the setting may become inactive until the park's overall complexity is reduced again. So this is basically a second level, right? What this is saying is you have your complexity meter, you reach the cap, the game stops you from building new things. You go into the options, you toggle on override performance limits to keep building more things, degrading performance, but there is still a hard cap even with this on, where this setting will stop and you still can't build anything. So this is not letting you build completely uncontrollably. This is just allowing you to restrict or relax the restrictions. So this is all of this. It sounds to me like it's a good start on improving this for people, maybe. But again, I have not experienced this directly. I can't directly comment on it. So yeah, that's kind of everything we got. We'll have the actual patch notes next week. Maybe there'll be some extra little cool things snuck in there. We'll see. But yeah, like a decent little first update. Not huge. I kind of expected a little more maybe in 1.1, but also I didn't really expect update 1.1 to be out in like 2 weeks or whatever, right? So if the update is smaller but comes sooner, that's probably fine. Especially since the thing on here about the returning family units means we're going to get monthly updates, right? Starting in January. Maybe they take December off. Who knows? But starting in January, monthly updates, which means we won't be following the update cycle that we had in JWE2, where we had like, I don't know what, a free update per DLC. So that was like 10 free updates or something, 12. I don't remember exactly. And so the JW2 updates were big, chunky, a lot of features, but that's because they were very staggered, right? So we'll probably have to get used to a lot smaller free updates because there's more of them. But if you look at it in batches of, like three months per, like what do those 3 updates look like? It'll probably look like a JW2 free update, right? Since the time schedule will be about similar. But we'll know more next year, so I guess we'll revisit that in January.